Trump carry the state at the presidential level, Savannah?
All right. Well, they have spent a lot of time, the president's campaign has spent a lot of time in Arizona over the years. We've got a new call to tell you about. It is too early to call in Ohio, but we are characterizing it a bit more, saying that the president is leading. Let's go to David Plouffe and Mike Murphy, two strategists, one Democrat, one Republican. So we've got the whole campaign covered here, although I will say Mike Murphy, Republican, who does not support Donald Trump. Mike, what are you seeing? What is giving you pause tonight?
Well, I think the Democrats wanted a quick knockout in the Sun Belt, particularly in Florida, perhaps in North Carolina or Georgia. And we have to wait on North Carolina or Georgia. But Florida's interesting, even though it looks like Donald Trump is going to be president for life of Miami-Dade County, which is what bailed him out in Florida. Biden did very well switching some swing counties there, which is a good sign, I think, for Arizona. And what I'm seeing in Ohio, which is a tight race with Biden in the hunt in a lean Republican state, is a very good sign for Michigan and Wisconsin and western Pennsylvania. There's no Miami-Dade County in Michigan, Wisconsin, or western Pennsylvania. So we just got to wait and count it, and it's going to take a while. But the quick knockout, that's just not going to happen tonight.
David, has there been too much reliance going down the stretch on this Sun Belt strategy? And are the paths now considerably more narrow, or appear to be more narrow for Biden?
Well, I think the Biden campaign is focused like a laser on Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. You had some other states come into play. Look, North Carolina is going to be very close. I think you're going to see a lot of votes still coming in the Atlanta area. That's going to make Georgia close. Arizona, I imagine that will tighten, but the 70% that's in looks good for Biden. So I think Arizona is crucial, obviously. And then I agree with Mike. I look at Ohio. It would be nice to win it, but that was a long shot. What does it tell you about western Pennsylvania, about parts of Michigan and Wisconsin? And so, yes, this is not going to be an early night. It's not going to be electoral college landslide. But until you show me numbers that suggest that Donald Trump now is the favorite in Arizona or Pennsylvania, I think Joe Biden still maintains the best route to 270. But the question in Arizona is some of the weakness we see in the Rio Grande Valley and then certainly in Miami-Dade with Hispanic voters. Does any of that carry over to Arizona? And when we really unpack the precincts, we'll get a sense of that.
All right, David and Mike, gentlemen, thanks very much. Before we pause for a quick break, an update from North Carolina's governor's race. And the incumbent, Cooper, will win, will continue to be governor.
All right, and in New Mexico, we've got Joe Biden prevailing in that state. It'll pick up New Mexico's 5 electoral votes. We're back right after this. Good morning. Welcome to Today. We're glad to have you with us.
This fall, we're right there with you, whether you're back to school.
EVE Online is a vast universe, alive with the unrelenting activity and combined history of its players. Pursuing lives of adventure, warfare, and prosperity, they share this existence in the biggest single shard, free-to-play MMO.
Police murder of unarmed black men has been an American way of death across centuries. After seeing the most comprehensive police reform bill ever introduced in Congress, I've begun to wonder if now is the time. If now is the time the protesters finally win.
The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, weeknights at 10 on MSNBC.
You ready to go to work?
I'm so ready to go to work.
She's Joe Biden's choice to be next in line. But who is Kamala Harris? Join me, Joy Reid, as I explore her life's journey from Oakland to Washington on my 6-part podcast, Kamala Next in Line. New episodes every Monday. Subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts.
A real close-knit group of nurses who pulled together when their boss needed help battling coronavirus.
You're not just any patient, you're their friend.
These folks saved my life. Thank God that there are people who want to run towards a pandemic as opposed to running away from a pandemic.
Introducing the MSNBC Daily, featuring written perspectives by experts you know and trust for a better understanding of the stories that matter most. Check out the MSNBC Daily today at msnbc.com.
You're watching NBC News Now. We've got some breaking news.
Are people there concerned about what impact this could have on the election?
It's news made for your streaming world.
It's what they do, not what they say.
President Trump and Joe Biden hit the trail. At the center of this campaign, coronavirus.
The story.
The battleground blitz as we enter the final stretch of the 2020 race.
From every angle.
If you were sitting here talking to Joe Biden and President Trump, what would you want to tell them right now?
On the ground.
The winds fanning these flames are expected to last another 24 hours.
And in depth.
We now have 2 vaccine trials on hold. Should people be concerned?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
As we learn a bit more, the plot thickens. Let's show you what's happening now in North Carolina. That's moved to the too close to call category. Too close to call.
All right, and let's go to Arizona, which just unloaded a bunch of votes, and we are saying it's too early to call, but Vice President Biden does have a lead in Arizona at this hour, which brings us to Chuck Todd and his maps.
Yeah, let's take a look at what we're looking at Arizona, and the numbers coming in very quickly, and as you can see, this is why we have him leading. He's got a 9-point lead. Look, he's got a 200,000 vote advantage, and we expect there's 800,000 votes left. That's a lot. Whoop. Look at how quickly these numbers start to update themselves. The point is that he's got to make up 200,000. There's 800,000 left. You can do that math, but Trump's got to get he's got to win a big chunk of the remaining vote to pull this off, which is why we classify that as Biden leading. We just go back to Maricopa. It's a 9-point. It's a 9-point gap. That's not something you can make up. Hope in the rural counties.
What about in Tucson, my hometown? Did he run up the score? No, that's
80%. And let's see how Biden did compared to Clinton. Look at that. Right now he's running 9 points ahead of her. She won it because it's always a Democratic county. It usually is a Democratic-leaning county. But look, if we were seeing this Latino vote helping Trump, it would show up in Pima County, and we're not seeing that there. And so this is a reminder that it doesn't, again, not all Latino votes are the same when you're trying to compare them, particularly if you're in the Southeast versus the Southwest. So, look, Arizona, this is the first Sun Belt state that you sit there and you're like, okay, and there's not a lot of rural remaining vote that you sit there and say, okay, we're going to see the same thing that we've seen with Trump in Ohio and North Carolina, that as that rural vote comes in, it starts to load up. Let's take a look at North Carolina. Remember, I told you, I said, one of the things you're going to see, we're going to get at least straggling rural counties that will add to his number, but that there was still some room to grow in the big blue counties. There's still a lot of vote in Wake County, 16% of the vote. This is that's a lot of voters that are left, and this has obviously been a huge Biden county. You look in Mecklenburg, not much left there, obviously, just 94% are in. Guilford, this is Greensboro, still a decent chunk of vote here. And then everywhere, Trump's strength is like a little bit everywhere. And that's the thing. You go, and I go back, I'll tell you, this rural African-American turnout is just such and I just want to just show you here where Trump is overperforming Robeson County. This is where he is able, he's adding to his numbers. We don't see this in some of these places.
Is that African-American voters not turning out?
This is not turning out.
Or because the president has made an effort to attract African-American
voters? Look, we're not seeing enough evidence there. This to me looks more like not turning out.
Okay.
On that front than it does anything else. Because you look, it's basically Biden's number and Clinton's number. They're not that different, 95% in. So you've seen in other places where there's some huge Biden overperformance here. These border counties along South Carolina are going to be, if Biden comes up short, I would argue that's where he's going to find the votes that he should have gotten in order to get this, in order to make North Carolina happen.
Okay.
Yeah, Minnesota. Let me quickly ask you about Minnesota. Jason Miller came on and suggested that the Trump folks feel good about Minnesota.
Look, they talk. We'll see. I mean, we only have about a third of the vote in, and just so you see, this is election day vote. So it's, let's look at some of the big. I mean, look, if Biden's got a big lead right now because Hennepin County, that's Minneapolis, and we've got most of the vote in. So, yeah, as the rural counties come in, this state's likely to get closer. It was a 3-point race last time. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. I've always been a bit of a skeptic for the Trump campaign to get over the top in Minnesota. But again, it does, Minnesota's a state that is certainly trending long term
towards the Republicans.
Yeah, and the Trump campaign certainly visited Minnesota many times and made an effort there. We've had two tales of that. Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota said the Democrats will hold. Jason Miller of the Trump campaign says
all in the same half hour.
There's an important Democratic Senate seat there.
Yes, there is. So we'll check in, and there's a lot of Senate races. In fact, a hot one out in Montana, Andrew was just reminding me of. We'll check in on that one as well. Take a break right here. We continue with our Decision 2020 election night coverage right after this break.
You ready to go to work?
I'm so ready to go to work.
She's Joe Biden's choice to be next in line. But who is Kamala Harris? Join me, Joy Reid, as I explore her life's journey from Oakland to Washington on my 6-part podcast, Kamala, Next in Line. New episodes every Monday. Subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts.
Washington feels.
The timeshare compliance team is here in Paramount, California, ready to surprise the Marcos family with a surprise savings of
$1,000 a year forever by resolving their timeshare contract.
Let's go surprise them.
It's more chaotic than ever. It's my job to ask the tough questions, left and right, and help you make sense of it all.
You ready to go to work?
I'm so ready to go to work.
She's Joe Biden's choice to be next in line. But who is Kamala Harris? Join me, Joy Reid, as I explore her life's journey from Oakland to Washington on my 6-part podcast, Kamala, Next in Line. New episodes every Monday. Subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
President Trump and Joe Biden hit the trail. At the center of this campaign, coronavirus.
The story.
The battleground blitz as we enter the final stretch of the 2020 race.
From every angle.
If you were sitting here talking to Joe Biden and President Trump, what would you want to tell them right now?
On the ground.
The winds fanning these flames are expected to last another 24 hours.
And in depth.
We now have 2 vaccine trials on hold. Should people be concerned?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. We're glad to have you with us.
This fall, we're right there with you. Whether you're back to school.
What do you guys think? We're excited?
Or back to work. We're keeping you safe.
I love being back.
Every morning on Today.
Police murder of unarmed black men has been an American way of death across centuries. After seeing the most comprehensive police reform bill ever introduced in Congress, I've begun to wonder if now is the time. If now is the time the protesters finally win.
The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, weeknights at 10 on MSNBC.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. We're glad to have you with us.
This fall, we're right there with you. Whether you're back to school.
What do you guys think? We're excited?
Or back to work. We're keeping you safe.
You might get it, right?
Great. Right there. Yeah.
Do 1 5. 1 5. Right next to the Boys and Girls Club.
So there's going to be 2 pages and it's double-sided. When you do these mark inside boxes, the clients getting marked outside, just sort of shade the boxes in. It's not funny. Take it over to scanner and scan it in electronically. But the lady here is going to have to scan it in.
If you wanted to change that right now at this moment, it would require a little more work. You'd have to install one of these. Or we can have you vote under the old address and then you can change the address later.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Yeah, it's a little more simple that way. That's not good. Yeah, it's just that it's a non-found address. So yeah, so when it's not found, not the valid address.
We will show you your food, which is all sanitized.
And done.
Just fill that out when you got time and stick it in the mail and then by the next election year, address and by the
So it's 2 pages right now. When you fill in that program, and you will see it about it.
Yeah, we'll take it also.
Okay. Fair.
Thank you.
And Dawn, she said I'm going to go. You too.
Thank you.
You right here?
That's what we had too. If you don't lie, and I think under 30 minutes after that. Fill in the boxes and so we put them back. Fold it in half. With the white, there you go. Yep, just like that. Slide it in. Good. Just take a look at the outside. At the very top, you'll see 360. Can you read that to me? 59149. Okay, hold that back up again. This is your receipt. Also tells you how to track your dollar. And we'll put it right in here. And it'll get delivered tonight, and here's your sticker. Thank you for coming in.
go right to the end, right here.
Hello.